I knew from a very young age I wanted to work with children. So I was a little girl who would gather all the children in the community with a little blackboard and teach them. I would say let's just try to promote what is positive. If we feel that women are not supporting each other, then let us be an example for the younger generation. It now becomes a woman's, the woman was lured by this or that. So I believe it's both ways. We do have to tell the girls the truth about what they possibly can face, when they go to these places.
Such journeys.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, yes. if you look critically and you want to find out, majority of the people that traffic our girls are women.
So then you're going back to how
women supporting women the right way.
Yes,
is still what we're talking about right now.
Yes, it's true.
So
it's true.
We need to, and most of them will tell you, they just have to go out to get a better life. And then you ask the questions, can't we have a better life in Nigeria? Whatever you desire in life, you can achieve. It's possible to have a greener, a better life here in Nigeria. So on this program, I would like to tell you that every woman is special. Yes, so bring out the worth of every woman. We inspire women. And so you're watching me right now as a woman, just believe in yourself. Yes, have the confidence that I can make it no matter what it takes. Oh, sure. And for our parents out there and every woman around every woman, let's inspire one another. Let's encourage one another. And then it goes on to say, let's help the girl child. Let us train the girl child. Let's encourage the girl child. We're still talking about, raising up beautiful and wonderful women in our society. Today, we have a lot of our young girls and women that don't take pride in their womanhood. Because I tell every woman I say, let's take pride in our womanhood. Some of our women and girls here out there are ready to sell their womanhood for a token, and then we begin to ask why. And the evenings, them stand on the streets to see a lot of things happening, and we're trying to want to change the mentality of these young ladies to know that you can achieve it. This is not the best way for you to achieve or become whatever you want to be in life. So how would you advise such ladies, if you've got a few minutes to talk with them, what would you say?
Again, I'm someone who would always want to put her money where her mouth is. So yes, I'm going to tell you that going out on the street is not the best thing to do. There will always be a market. Prostitution is the oldest profession in the world. There will always be a market. Like I said, the girls are always demonized. The men, the Johns, often are not. But we have to sort of help to provide more opportunities for girls and also support them too. So like in our school, we start talking to our young girls from middle school and start talking about how they see themselves and how they view themselves and how they look at themselves and talk to them about the realities of what they might face in the outside world, the music they listen to, how are they referred to in the music that they listen to, just starting from there, how they see themselves, how they treat each other. So we do have to start young and start talking to the girls. And then if we were to talk to the girls who are out there, the women who are out there on the street, there's a saying that says, when you know better, you do better. When you have better, you can, plan to achieve better. So like I said, it's hard for me to just preach without putting something to works. So I would say, to set up opportunities for these young women. Now, it is difficult for people to leave something that they do know, because if money comes easily, they're going to always want to take it. But we have to start bit by bit, building up, a lady's self-worth, knowing that she is valuable. Because a lot of times, that little voice in the back of your head, it develops when girls are very, very young. So mothers have to be careful how we talk to our young girls, how we pit girls against their siblings, oftentimes the male child, how we classify the good girl. Is a good girl always the one that doesn't speak up, that that doesn't speak her mind? Do we provide the same educational opportunities for the girl that we do for our boys? Do we have the same expectations for our girls as we do our boys? When I was going to school, one of us knew we were going to get married, but we also were concentrated on our careers. There wasn't this fear about not finding a husband. And so we grew up free to really concentrate on our studies and become who we were meant to become. So a lot of my friends, both in secondary school and in university, are very successful. But I find that different. Like I said, I saw a lot of change. Where I found women talking about the height of their daughter in 5th grade or 3rd grade or 4th grade and wanting to jump her class and push them into secondary school because the daughter is tall. And when would she get married? Or when would she do this? Or when would she do that? She's still a child. And the parents still have responsibilities to raise that child. Then oftentimes, children are pushed into circles where they really are too young to understand and navigate the systems. And that's often another thing that puts girls out on the streets. If you go and ask the ages of these young girls out there, it is, and most of these girls are still supposed to be in high school. And so when you have young girls who are not fully developed out there and someone's busy offering you a whole lot of money, it seems like easy money. And then when you add that, when you couple that with, I haven't had my self-worth built up the way it's supposed to. I don't have enough, voices in the background convincing me that I am viable. I am somebody's daughter. I am special. I am somebody that has something precious that is not just about giving it to a husband or a man, but it's about me. Because you see, when you do place it in the hands of a husband or a man, the Johns and the people coming are men. And some of these women out on the streets, there always is a pretty woman story. In Pretty Woman, Julia, what's her name, married her John. So there are still these princess and knight in shining armor stories where not enough women know that I can make it by myself. I don't necessarily need anybody to make it. So it's a whole lot of things that we can say and tell girls and young women. But like I said in the beginning, talk can be very cheap. Yeah. What are we actually doing to support and help these young women? There are a lot of organizations that set up loans for women to start businesses, or they have funds, to give to people to start small businesses. Our young people are some of the most brilliant on earth. We come up with things that's just amazing, astounding. A lot of times I meet young people who have these amazing ideas, but nobody, first of all, to believe in them, and then to fund them and to back them up. So this is a cry out to everybody. Everyone who has a little something, give it to somebody. Invest in somebody. Invest in our youth, because it is going to bounce back on us. It really, really is. We all can't leave Nigeria. We really can't.
Oh, sure.
We really can't.
Yeah.
And so
it all boils down to we supporting one another as it is again.
Yes.
Taking care. It's not just all talk.
Yes.
Do something positive for the girls to take them off. What's the situation where some have asked for cash to start a business and they've been given cash, and before you know it, they're going back to that same business of standing on the road. Seems like that is just what they like to do. But I would call it a mentality thing, so I keep asking, how can we change the mentality of this world?
Well, like I said, for me, it's, sometimes it's a matter of doing what doing what you know and what has worked for you. And that's why I believe strongly in mentorship. I had mentors. I had people who not just, called me every once in a while, but were there for me. Like I remember when I told you that everyone around me knew that I was supposed to be an educator. Yeah. When I was going for my medical school interview, they supported me. I felt supported. I had my suit. someone gave me a pair of shoes and prayed with me, before I left. And I knew I was prayed on, I was prayed for, and I went knowing that I had all these people backing me. I had Mr. and Mrs. Sack, I had my family, I had all these people backing me. And when I went into that interview, when I went for the interviews with the doctors and even the people who organized the program, and they kept reiterating to me, a voice from within got stronger and stronger and stronger. But I can say that I also had the backing of so many people. Yeah. And I remember when I walked down and I said, this isn't something I'm supposed to do, the weight was lifted off my shoulders. And when I went back, that was when, the whole office just burst out into a praise the Lord. This girl, finally found her footing. But I remember that support system. So I know what it takes. So when we're giving that money to the girl, or to the young man too, but this is a story about young women, and saying, come off the street. I know that money's not enough. They're going to need a little bit more, checking up. Because what is the voice within? What do you have inside of you telling you, I can make it, I can do it? Because sometimes the other voices are much louder than my one voice saying, here, take this money and come off the street. When they go home, what do they hear? When they go to the circles that they are used to going, what do they hear?
They go back again.
They go back. So sometimes it's a matter of making sure that we're consistent and being support systems and mentors and making sure we're following through.
Like a continuous check on such a person.
Yes.
Giving hope or every now and then.
Yes.
Just you being there for them. I guess is a collective responsibility, if you ask me. It takes the government, it takes we as individuals, Nigerians, to come together to really better our society and help our young ones as well.
Each one teach one.
Oh yes, that's
Each
true.
one teaches.
It
takes a village to raise a child.
So that brings us to begin to say still that we should help the girl child to become who she wants to be in life. Now, we have a lot of women now, going from this other negative side, let's go to the positive side. We have a lot of women that are well-read, well-schooled, just there, beautiful and elegant and intelligent. But the society we are living in today does not actually give them the opportunity to, spread that knowledge or do that which they can do, like the main counterparts as well. But I want to say kudos to His Excellency here in Delta State, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa. He's been women-friendly in positioning women in government and all of that. So let's ask, how or what do you think can be done to place more women in positions of authority in the society?
First of all, we have to vote. We do have to go out and vote, and we have to work, grassroots.
Okay. Election is here.
Yes.
2023.
Yes, and I ask a lot of my staff, are you going to vote? Are you going to go out? And because of my mother's, I had a deep interest in the civil rights movement, and I was very active in a lot of community work, especially within the Black community. So I did a lot of research, and during the civil rights movement, it actually was built out of churches. It was driven from churches. And there were a lot of women who worked behind the scenes that kind of fueled the engine of the civil rights movement. So whenever there is a movement, women always play a pivotal role. Young people too. But women always, so when you see a Dr. Martin Luther King or you see a Malcolm X, there's a Fannie Lou Hamer and there's an Ella Baker behind him or her. So we also have to make sure that we are, utilizing the grassroots to talk about our women who are running for office, and also to encourage them and tell them that you can do this. And like you mentioned, our governor, make sure that we are voting in men and people, period, because like you said, sometimes women, we can also, be our worst enemies too. People who are women and also children friendly, and so make sure that we are doing our part. So we do have a lot of successes to learn from, and I believe we can put in the work. educators are positive. We have this positive spin to us. So I don't think if we have to have that positive spin because we are bringing up the next generation. So when I look into that young girl's eyes, I have to be able to see her future and know that it is possible. They say, you know, if you educate a woman, you educate the world.
That's true.
So we have to keep educating and talking and not get tired of.
We've been talking.
Yes, you have. You have
and
joy.
You see, a lot of women don't believe in politics. In Nigeria, they'll tell you politics is a dirty game. So that's why women. But the election is just around the corner. When you check it out, women come out in their numbers to vote during voting time for elections, general elections. Women are always there to vote. But even when you come out to vote and you have these candidates, we hardly vote for the women, or rather vote for the men. So how do you see politics and women?
Well,
is it really a dirty game?
No, I don't feel so, because I feel that we can change the game. Like I said, I am an educator, so we do have to have this positive spin. Now, are people in politics playing dirty? They are. They really, really are. But if we all believe that a place is dirty, then it always will be dirty, and nobody will ever go in to clean it up. So there are people who naturally are gifted to be great politicians and great leaders. So like I said, we have to keep bringing them up from youth, to encourage them and let them know that they can be all that they can be
in life.
Yes.
Okay. And so that brings us to say, let's support one another. The 2023 elections has just started. The party primaries already is on. And if you see a woman coming out to contest, if you won't come out, please let's support that woman that's coming out. That's just the message today. So we can have a voice in the National Assembly. We can have a voice in the State House of Assemblies. Yes, you can even be a governor. Okay. All right. There's one sad part still that's concerning our women. I would like to want to talk about again today. As beautiful as marriage is, some of us have not been able to get it right. It's hard. Then, so a lot of issues here and there. I want to talk basically. Let's look at women dying in marriage. I want to be very critical about that and direct about it as it is. A case in point, the Osinachi's story. What's your take on that?
First of all, my condolences go out to her family, especially her children, and it was a horrible story. However, before our dear Osinachi, there have been so many other women who have lost their lives. So many other. I remember a particular case when I was, I believe, in my very early 20s, of a man who pushed his wife off a high-storied building. And I think the thing that bothered me the most was the conversation around her death, and how it didn't even take very long before the people around him helped him escape. So there have been so many women who have been battered and have lost their lives in marriages. It's a problem that perpetuates all over the world. We hear about situations even in the United States where women are shot in their marriages. And we do have to start, first of all, talking to ourselves and listening. What is the usual narrative when a woman says, my husband is beating me? A lot of times, the first response from a lot of women is, what did you do? Some women would say, well, yours is even better, mine is worse. I remember times when even churches would uphold this, go back, and quote. I remember going to Mass one day, I'm a Catholic, and having the Reverend Father weep and talk about how many times, unfortunately it wasn't really in this country, but how many times he had sent women back And then he started realizing that time after he sent women back to their homes, he was soon conducting their funerals. So there's an awakening that needs to happen where people need to start hearing the cries of women when it starts happening. And also looking at how we view marriage to begin with. You know, is it this necessity, do or die? If I'm not married, then I'm nothing in society. I'm nothing within my family. I have I have nothing basically. I can lose my children. I can lose my status. I can lose I can lose everything. And so that woman would risk staying within a marriage, or withstanding abuse, or knowing that abuse is to come and still entering a marriage. It's a horrible business. It's a huge problem, and I think our dear Sinachi's death did bring a different light to a problem that's been going on for a very, very long time. And I think it had a different kind of impact on a lot of people. Sometimes it takes one person's death, unfortunately, to cause a different look at a problem that's been existing. So I would say that her story is really a cry out to so many other women's stories. We have lost daughters and sisters and cousins and friends.
Wow, quite touching. And so in all, we say, as a woman married, you are not supposed to die in that marriage.
Yes.
We all want to enjoy our marriages. We don't want to suffer in the marriage. We don't want to manage the marriage. I guess it's meant to be enjoyed and not managed. We just pray a lot of our women will speak up these days, open up when it begins, the earlier the better. And
also provide a solution. It's one thing to say, like families, sometimes families send the women back, So families have to start, we have to stop, criminalizing or creating a bad face for women having to leave a home, and then what happens to women who have had to leave and often had to leave with nothing. What do our laws say about, women and divorce in terms of, are they able to take their children, or are they able to even have their children? So there are a lot of factors around a woman choosing to stay or having to stay that it's almost like how we looked at widowhood and inheritance. Sometimes we have to look at marriage and the rights within marriage. So it can be a choice that a woman can make, a viable choice to leave.
Yeah, it's the decision to say is yours, because he that wears the shoes knows where it pinches. So all we ask is, it's very nice to have a peace at home, but when the peace is being denied you, please speak up. And so something can be done. Of course, something can always be done if attended to on time.
Yes.
Okay. We want to mold, build, and have responsible women in our society. And so let's help the girl child. Let's train the girl child. Let's encourage the girl child to become whatever she desires or wants to be in life, because it's achievable. For yesterday's girls are today's women, and today's girls will definitely become tomorrow's women, and we want a better society and life for our women that will be livable and enjoyable. My womanhood is my pride. And right now, before we say goodbyes, I'd like to ask Aunty Abe, who we've been speaking with all this while, the important lessons that life has taught you.
Well, I think my own life, I would say from my own experiences, I would say I had to learn, keep your dreams alive and know that your dreams are yours. And even though life will continue to happen, your inner voice is yours. I always knew I was supposed to work with children, and because of external factors that happened around me, I thought that there was something that kind of became louder than that tiny voice within. But once I realized that that tiny voice within was my one true voice, then I let it speak. And that's where, that's brought me to where I am today. I strongly believe in kindness, and a little kindness can go a long way. And that's why I believe strongly in helping and supporting people.
Okay, that's nice. So how best do you think we can, by looking at the issue of rape in our society, how best do you think we can tackle the increasing issues of rape in our society?
Education first. I would say we have to change the narrative. There is this, blame the victim. A lot of times we tend to, again, look at the women. Recently, we started looking at, again, I believe it happened around Osinachi's death, where a lot of times people start talking about how we raise our young men.
Okay.
And also raising young men to know that they are to respect young women. As young women, we're taught very early, watch how you sit, watch how you dress, watch how you speak, watch where you go, have your sister's back, and all these other things. And we try our best, but it's not all, it's good girls get raped too. So we do have to, first of all, start changing the narrative. Look at what we often put in our movies. When we have a movie that shows a rapist eventually marrying somebody who he raped, that sends a message to society. When we have situations where girls are raped, and yet the way it is reported, or the way in which society is allowed to have a platform to speak about it, it is blaming the woman and not giving enough responsibility to the man. We do have to change the narrative. Because I tell you, most of us who are mothers and sisters and aunties and grandmothers and fathers and brothers of girls will continue to train those girls to be careful. We will continue to train them to walk right, sit right, be careful. And as friends, we will continue to have our sisters back when we go out, to watch their drinks to make sure nobody slips something inside. However, women and girls still get raped. So it's a world problem, it's a societal problem. But we do have to become more conscious within our society to change the narrative. I see too many opportunities on public platforms, films, discussions, our discussions in churches or in circles, where there's still this underlying tone of blaming the woman. What does she wear? What does she do?
And that brings us to talk about indecent dressing as well.
Yes.
Because many people will say, our mothers have failed us. Do you toe that line? Do you agree with that?
In my line of work, I have seen some things that have not made me very happy. I would say that I have seen some mothers who have not been as careful as they should in ensuring that they themselves are setting a good example for their daughters, and that their daughters are then living out, and dressing the best way that they can. But I do know that no matter what, I know when I reached a certain age, I had a choice. And so a lot of times mothers get blamed for things that really becomes a personal choice for a young woman. So young women, they do have a choice on how short that skirt, they want that skirt to be, or how much cleavage they want to show. So there is something about personal choice that shouldn't really go back to the mother. So I would say on both sides that we really do need to be careful as mothers to bring our girls up as carefully as possible, without letting them feel that the way they're dressed resulted in some kind of assault. Because you can dress from head to toe and still be assaulted and disrespected. So, and also as a school, we talk to our girls about how they dress, how they comport themselves, how they compose themselves, how they talk to people. So as a whole, we do have a role to play. But there's also choice. When our young girls reach a certain age, they are going to make a choice about how they want to dress and what they want to wear. And then also, our young men also have to learn that they are to respect a woman no matter how she's dressed.
Okay. I still will keep on insisting that decent dressing is the most beautiful way you can come out as a woman. Because you are dressed, you actually will be dressed the way you are dressed. And so, as we wrap up, we want to say...
You know, what was interesting was during our girl talk that we just had, a point that we made to our young girls is that fashion trends will continue to change.
Yeah.
They will continue to change. And sometimes our girls become slaves to what is fashionable, you know. So we also have to keep that in mind, you know, because no matter what, within each fashion trend, you know, your own style is going to come out. And there's a place and time for everything.
Oh yes, there is a place and time for everything. Having come this far and having achieved so much and still looking this young and pretty and beautiful, still holding on to your own, you know, doing your thing, can we please just tap into the secret of success? What is the secret of success all this while you've gotten here?
First of all, I know that whatever I have today, I prayed for it. I did. I prayed for the school. I prayed for each one of my children. I prayed to God. So I know that, you know, prayer, God, has a huge influence on what I have today. My parents played a huge role. My father and my mother played a huge role. And like I said, the other people who were around me, like the Sachs and other people, played a huge role also. My own drive and determination, even when I felt that I couldn't make it, because there's that strong voice that you can make it, there's also those little self-doubt that comes up. And as women, we know about our little self-doubt that comes up every so often. And that's why I'm so big on being a great support to women, because that little voice of doubt is louder in some girls than others. So I would say all that combined, along with some really good friends, I have a wonderful staff. My staff in Playland has always been the backbone of this school. So I would say it's a whole lot of stuff that led to my to the sex of Playland.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for granting us audience to talk with you.
You're welcome,
today.
Joy. It was a pleasure.
Okay, but just before we let you go and step out of your office, one advice for our young ladies and our women generally out there, please.
Believe in yourself. Please, believe in yourself. You can be, as Miss Joy has said, you can be whatever you want to be. And look for your own mentors. Look at people, and don't just look at the people who had it easy in life. Read life stories of women, not just the famous ones. Look around you. You would find mentors everywhere. Pray always. Believe in yourself.
Thank you so much. Sure, I've been speaking with the beautiful, elegant, soft-spoken Agbanyero Chukudemi, a.k.a. Aunty Abby of Playland Academy here in Asaba. And I want to believe, I learned a lot from her and I enjoyed talking with her. And I hope you did too. So always believe in yourself. Wherever you are, you can achieve whatsoever you dream about to want to achieve in life as a woman. Like she said, you don't need to depend on that person. I will have to call on him. Yes, you can do it all on your own with God on your side. Just have faith and trust in God Almighty. It shall come to pass. Believe in yourself. You know one thing that you ought to wear every day as you leave your house is your self-confidence and your self-worth as a woman. It will take you a long way. Yes. I've got pride, I have potentials, and I am special. I've got class. Joy Uche is my name. And I hope to see you again next week when I come on with another interesting guest on the woman in you. My womanhood is my pride. That's it.
Audio Jungle.